What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. You already know the other night, the Raptors, they won back-to-back games. They faced the Grizzlies and beat John Moran, even though they don't have Jaren Jackson Jr. You know what I'm saying? He's out for the season, basically out the bubble with the injury. But they beat the Grizzlies. And then the next night, they beat, which was the other night, the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, they were without Giannis. The Raptors were playing with Pascal, but they were without Fred VanVleet. They were out Lowry, and they were out Ibaka. So other people had to step up, you already know. And it was a complete, obviously it wasn't like a star-studded matchup that it should have been. Eastern Conference preview that it should have been. But at the end of the day, it was a great win for the Raptors regardless, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's just a confidence booster, you know, get the role players, get into groove, all that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, that's what elite looks like when it comes to that. So let's go into that context. Because I give it that context. Let's go straight right into it. Psych, hell no. What are you talking about? You think I'm going to do a breakdown on that shit? Hell no. You must have lost your mind. You think I'm going to do a breakdown with no Lowry, no VanVleet, no Ibaka, and no Giannis? And I'm going to do that? Hell no. This is the time now to have a good talk. So again, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about basically the Raptors season as a whole. Obviously, the season isn't fully finished. They only have a couple of 1-2 games left. This regular season in the bubble, or the restart in the bubble of the regular season, ends on Friday, right? You got the playing games Saturday and Sunday, and the playoffs, I think, start Monday. Yes, Monday, August 17th. So basically a week and almost a week from now, next Monday. So again, now that the reason why I'm doing this earlier is because we've seen and we know, and it's been confirmed that the Raptors have clinched the number 2 seed. They can't lose it. They can't go up. The Bucks have clinched the number 1 seed. And then Brooklyn has also clinched the 7th seed. So that's who the Raptors are facing, which thank goodness they're facing the Nets. You know what I'm saying? Actually, they should have it would have been better for Raptors to face the Magic, because without Isaac, the Magic have just been looking atrocious. But they're facing the Nets. The Nets, they work hard and all that type of stuff, but they have no Kyrie, no KD, no Spencer Dinwiddie, no DeAndre Jordan. Like, there's a plethora of mans they don't have. You know what I'm saying? They still have Karis LeVert, who will still cause a 1-2 problem, but it should be an easy 5 games. If they don't win in 5 games, I'm coming here to destroy them and ether them. But at the end of the day, that's besides the point. The point is right now, a lot of y'all think, oh, all you do is criticize and criticize and criticize and criticize. What happens is when you overboost, I have to knock it down a little and give IQ about where they actually should be rated. That's when it comes to players. That's also when it comes to teams. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm the biggest Raptors fan than most of you. But at the end of the day, like I said, that's just how my brain works. I love basketball, and I'm passionate about basketball first, that certain things that I won't say, certain things that when I hear it said, it's like it's disrespectful to the game of itself. We have to know who's elite to the game, who's what to the game, what and this. If I go and say outlandish things, it's just when you understand the game to that level, just certain things you'll never say, you'll never echo, that the masses will echo. You know what I'm saying? So you have to kind of like, that's what I do. I kind of, you know, I cancel that shit and kind of give IQ and enlighten people into what really it is. Now, obviously, a lot of the times it's always going to be negativity, because the type of fans Raptors have is they overboost things. Other fan bases don't really do that. Raptors, obviously, it's the whole country behind. And then, obviously, Raptors fans, we just overboost things and we get so excited, which is why when Raptors had Lowry and DeRozan, oh my God, we're going to the finals. Oh my God, we this. And every single year they get out the second round, only the 1 year, the anomaly. You know what I'm saying? And then they're disappointed. They're going in 7 games in the first round, etc., because you overboost. So now when reality comes, oh my God, I'm always getting hurt. You know, I'm almost getting a seizure watching the Raptors game. They have a 20-point lead, they lose it. Oh my God, it's never ever just easy beat. All that type of stuff. So there's a reason why, because you overboost things. Now, you know what I mean? You're in for a rude awakening, and you're more upset and hurt because your reality was a false reality. So now, that's just my explanation of where my context comes from, me, myself, when I now analyze the Raptors. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is the time where now they've clinched the 2nd seed. We're just going to go ahead and give a lot of positives and just congratulations. I'm going to do something different because y'all think, oh my God, I don't this and that and all. So we're going to give a tribute basically video. We're going to basically dedicate this video to the Raptors and the good things and the positive things and, acknowledging the good things that they've done and accomplished this season. So first things first, the biggest accomplishment and the biggest kind of great thing that of what elite looks like when it comes to the Raptors is the fact that they lost Kawhi, which remember, go back to that time when the Raptors lost Kawhi. They won a ring for the first time. They lost Kawhi, and it was like, oh my God, this team is about to be atrocious. My goodness, everyone was going up. We should have gave Pascal and kept Paul George and all this type of stuff. Well, I still think we should have still done, but that's a different discussion. We could have had Westbrook, Kawhi, and PG and X and Y and Z and all this type of stuff. The Raptors are going to be atrocious now. We lost our window, etc., and all that type of stuff. I thought they're gonna still make the playoffs regardless because they have their core, but I didn't expect them to do what they did now. I didn't expect them to be a second seed. That was straight. Like, if you had to ask me back then, that's where, wow, like, hell no, they're not doing that shit. So the fact that they got another 50-win season, they won 58 games last year, you know what I'm saying? And they win 50 wins again, 51 right now currently this year. Obviously, it's going to be less because the bubble is a short amount of games. But the fact that they've reached 50 wins and clinched the second seed is a great accomplishment in itself. A lot of it is credit to the players increase in their level of productivity, right? It's just crazy that the fact that you have the Raptors, last year they did what? What did they do? Let me see here real quick. Give me 1 second. The Raptors, they only had, they still always had a lot of, so the Raptors, wow, even last year they had Pascal averaging 17, obviously Kawhi was averaging 27, Ibaka was averaging more than Lowry with 15, Lowry with 14, and then, you know what I mean, then you had JV, Van Vliet, and Danny you had 7 players averaging 10 points plus. Obviously you remove JV, you had 6 players average 10 points plus, but there was only, you know what I mean? It was just at the end of the day, it was just a lot of it was Kawhi, and all these guys were doing a lot of good things. But the fact that Kawhi leaves and then you have your other guys step up and boost their points per game. You have Pascal boost from 17 to 23 now. Then you have Lowry from 14 to 19.4, right? You have Van Vliet, who was averaging, what was he averaging? He wasn't even averaging, he was averaging 11. And now Van Vliet is averaging 18. You know what I'm saying? Like, that. You have so many guys who are basically in most improved in their own right in one season. Obviously, a lot of it is the production. I mean, the output, the amount of shots they're going to get, because Kawhi, who was the focal point, has been removed. Now, obviously, those shots have to go somewhere and redistribute it, right? So the fact that you have all of that, you have Ibaka averaging, what's it called? Sorry, Van Vliet, Norman Powell averaging 16, and then Ibaka averaging 15. Like, Norman Powell jumped hella. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Norman Powell boosted, Norman Powell was averaging 8 points. Now he's at 16, so he went above 8 plus. You know what I'm saying? You just have a lot of people adding up to their points per game. Ibaka is still at the 15, right? So, and then you still have OG at 10.6, 11. So you still have a solid, 6 guys, again, still averaging 10 plus points, which is already reckless. But the fact that they've able to remove Kawhi and still produce and still get that type of 50 wins is it's amazing when you look at it. And that's, again, a lot of it is credit to Nick Nurse, which is why I personally have Nick Nurse as the coach of the year. A lot of it, obviously, like, again, this is another accomplishment, another thing we're gonna, clap our hands for when it comes to the Raptors, is the fact that Nick Nurse in his first year won a ring, and then Kawhi leaves and he's still in that same echelon and that same tier without your best player. Most coaches, like we were talking about on the podcast, most coaches, when you remove the best player or their 1-2 elite players, they're not in the same breath. They're not in the same tier. They're not in the same winning capacity. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that Nick Nurse still is that shows you that the system, even though it's not an OD system, just their principles. So there's a system is kind of like the play sets and the actions you kind of run. Raptors do have that, but it's more so plays than a system. Their principles is more so that stand out more than their actual system. You know what I'm saying? They don't have everyone has to be at this specific spot, like a triangle offensive system, that type of system. They don't have a system like that. technically their principle is their system. But again, their principle is a lot of you shoot threes, a lot of dribble penetration, up tempo, you kill on transition, up tempo where you drive and kick, you know what I'm saying, or the high pick and roll. It's kind of their principles that they have, which technically is their system, but it's mainly their analytical principle is what they have. All about the analytics, get into the paint, high percentage takes, and shoot open threes. They don't really shoot mid-range that much, which will affect them in playoffs, but that's besides the point. The point is in regular season, they have the perfect principle that's going to get you a lot of wins. That's why when you see them plug and play guys, this Pascal's injured, you know what I'm saying? They're still able to win. Lowry's injured, they're still able to win. Gasol's injured, they're still able to win. You know what I mean? Van Vliet's injured, they're still able to win. You have a good, not only that, the main principle that they have too is defense that a lot of people don't talk about. Their defense is pads. The Raptors defense is actually padlocks. It's been like that, and it got enhanced when you bring another defender in Kawhi and Danny Green, but you remove both of them. They still have defensive principles. They still have elite defenders. You know what I'm saying? Now, and not only that, they have elite team defense. They still rotate. They still help each other. They do all those type of things. Now, there's certain mistakes that they make where I talk about KYP. And that's just me being advanced and me being expecting and wanting excellence at all facets of the point of the game. You know what I'm saying? But in overall, when you sum it up, Raptors have great defense. It's actually pads. Like, if you don't have Arsenal, you will struggle versus the Raptors. Because again, when you have elite Arsenal, it's hard to maintain, to contain that guy and maintain him. But when you don't have no Arsenal and you just only score in the paint and catch and shoot threes like the Lakers, that's why they've padded them. Teams like that, where you don't have any elite creator, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle for you. You know what I'm saying? So only one that it mainly wasn't a struggle for was the Bucks, because Giannis's length and running into the paint, like, that's why Kawhi was such a big factor when they switched Kawhi onto him. Even though, yes, they built a wall, Kawhi kind of impeded his angles anyways and has strength and kind of was shutting him down one-on-one to the wall. As opposed to you getting beat and then you try to build the wall. He's already has length, euro, beat, spin, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. So, again, that's a different discussion. But mainly, Nick Nurse's principles, Nick Nurse's things that he's been establishing has just been elite. You know what I'm saying? It's just you rarely see a man for 2 straight years be elite with 2 different complete night and day situations. And he doesn't get credit for that enough, obviously, because of the meeting, you know how they work. And for me, Coach of the Year has always been either the surprise team, like the surprise team and surprise coach. Well, not necessarily surprise coach, but the surprise team or the best team. Those are the 2 that are that win the Coach of the Year all the time. That's kind of like the unwritten rule and the principles, how I see it. So now when you look at the team that is the best team that normally gets Coach of the Year, or the team that's the surprise team, how big of a surprise is that team versus how good is this best team? That's when you now gauge, do I go to the surprise team to win Coach of the Year, or do I go to the best team? Sometimes the best team is also the surprise team. Like last year with the Bucks. No one expected the Bucks to snap like that, which is why they won it. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you look at it, everyone expected, that's why for me, Coach of the Year for this year should only be between Nick Nurse and Billy Donovan, because no one expected OKC and the Raptors were both supposed to be either lottery or out the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Or like bottom tier. OKC was supposed to be lottery. So the fact that OKC is a 6th, 5th, but like 1 game away from 4th seed, basically in that 4 to 6, in the West, is a hella surprise team, and that's in his favor. So if you want to give it to him, I get from that point. Nick Nurse, again, the Raptors weren't supposed to be in the top tier of the Eastern Conference. The Raptors were supposed to be bottom tier or not even in the playoffs or 8th seed or whatever. That's how people looked at it. This man is 2nd seed clinching, fighting neck and neck with the Bucks. Just like last year. It's like nothing changed. Obviously, something will change when it comes to playoffs, but again, regular season, it's like nothing changed. So you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's where I look at it. That the surprise that those 2 guys have done, the tier and the echelon of the surprise that they have risen to from where they were and where they are, is a bigger jump than someone being the best team and snapping with elite numbers and whatever as the best team. That's why I can't give it to the best team in this year. Any other year, they would get it. But when you have surprise teams that are that reckless, the surprise team always has to win versus the team that's best, especially when they've been seen to be the best team and no one expects them to change. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of my IQ behind the Coach of the Year and why I have Nurse to be that. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at it from that perspective, again, the Raptors as a whole, they've done a lot of great things this year. They've done a lot of things. They've role players that you didn't expect to step up, guys like Terrence Davis, all these guys, like just the fact that that's why you got to rate Masai, you got to rate Nick Nurse. He basically is maximizing all his people. You know what I'm saying? And coaches there's a lot of coaches that don't really do that. You know what I'm saying? He's established a type of principle and play style that just maximizes all Pascal's attributes, maximizes Lowry to play how he wants to play, run, go up and down, high tempo, you know what I'm saying, run into the paint, draw a foul, if not driving kick. It's not, you're removing the ISO factor. Yes, it's going to come down to that in playoffs, but in regular season, the fact that they don't just go, okay, no, you're Pascal, you're the new Kawhi, come do ISO bear. You know what I'm saying? He's not doing that. He's established some type of identity that they have, which is move the ball a lot, play elite defense regardless, and push the ball, advance, and just move the ball and penetrate, driving kick, and don't really hold the ball for more than like 5-6 seconds individually. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of up-tempo, nitty-gritty, blueprint that they have is just it's great for the Raptors, and that's why the Raptors have overachieved. Anytime someone has overachieved, like, you always have to rate the coach, and the Nick Nurse has to be mentioned in like the top tier coaches of this league, even though it's only his second year, but he has earned the right because Steve Kerr in the first year, 2 years was mentioned, and this man had an elite team regardless. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna be the ones to say, oh, he doesn't have an elite team now. Look at what he is. He has like 3-4 mans injured. Like, that's different. So, you know what I mean? That's completely different. But again, if Steve Kerr can be mentioned as the top tier coach from the first year he wins a ring, second year he's there and all that type of stuff, when he inherited a team like that with elite stars, generational talent, and Nick Nurse is doing the exact same thing, without that, there's no excuse but the excuse that they're in Toronto, right? So again, this is just the appreciation for the Raptors. Now, when it comes to the playoffs, again, they have a couple games left. We'll see how they finish the games off. You know what I'm saying? They have 1-2 games where they're gonna play. Let's see who they're gonna play. Let's actually just check real quick. Shouldn't take too long. I should just pull it up 1-2 seconds. But at the end of the day, like I said, they have a couple games left. They just have to get that grind. We don't know if they're gonna play all their crucial players. But again, we'll see how they look. So tomorrow, again, or today, they're gonna be playing the Sixers, right? They're going to be playing the Sixers, and then they have one more game after that where they play the Nuggets. So they have 2 more games where they play the Nuggets and they play the Sixers. So when you look at that, we'll see those are 2 games that we don't know if Embiid's going to play. But again, you want to establish great rhythm going into the playoffs. You don't want to, obviously you want to rest the 1-2 guy, but if you have time to play somebody and it's like they are playing their people, you're like, you know what, let's test it and let's see how we can move. Now, that's kind of like, do you play your guys, and if you lose, it's a bad way to go into the playoffs? So you just rest people and just go with the kind of good points you've already established. That's kind of the situation that Nurse got to adhere to and kind of, check into and decide what he's going to do at that moment. But overall, the Raptors have taken advantage of this bubble situation. They've made the best of it. Obviously, they lost that bad loss versus the Celtics, but they've won basically all their games. So they've been in a proper groove. That Celtics loss might affect them second round because that's the game within the game. That's why the Celtics showed out for that time. But other than that, they've beaten the Lakers. They've beaten solid teams that they could have maybe lost to. So again, the Raptors have a lot of things going their way. Now, again, to repeat, like I've been said, to repeat and to basically defend your ring. Be in the position where we could say, yes, they defended it properly with honor and defended it properly and defended it well, that we're happy about, is if they make it to the conference finals or the finals. Anything less of that is definitely going to be a disappointment. Now, in overall, if you just looked at it, we lost Kawhi and we only went to the second round, that's good. But that's out of context. The context is we established that we're good without Kawhi. We established that, for me, I don't think they're good without Kawhi, but in general, in the regular season, we established that we're good without Kawhi. We established that we're the second seed. We're established that we don't need him. We established that we're still a contender. We're established that we could maybe face the Bucks in the conference finals. So anything short of that is going to be a problem. I don't want to hear y'all if they don't make it to that point. No, but without Kawhi, this is good. Don't do that. Don't do that. The context is now we forget Kawhi, leave that. It's alone. Y'all said they could defend. They could go to the finals. So let's see. Now is the time where the Raptors have to step up to the plate. And this has been my issue with the Raptors before Kawhi came, when you don't have that superstar. Regular season and playoffs are two different demons. They're two different tiers. They're two different types of games. Every other team rises their level of play. We focus more on you. You know, when the lights is on, what are you going to do? So now don't do that cop out that now, oh, we lost Kawhi, we did good. Don't do that. You expected them with that context to get to this. If they don't get to this, you'll have to put your feet at the fire and say, you know what? I sussed. That's it. And if it rolls reverse, like I said, it goes like, that's how it goes. Now, we have to see how they're going to move versus the Nets. I'm going to do later down the line. I'm going to do my predictions for where I see the Raptors going to when all the brackets fill out, when all the 8 seeds fill out, so I can see who exactly they're going to play. I can kind of assume for now, but again, we never know how it may change in the next 3 days, whatever. So we're going to wait. Once it's at that point, I will give my predictions and all that type of stuff for the Raptors postseason hopes, or, you know, I'm going to do all of that. But as of now, again, this is just an appreciation for the Raptors. Just appreciation for how elite this season has been from when we went in going into it as this is a wash season to now this is a season we can actually defend. So it's just, again, congrats to the Raptors for a great season. Obviously, the season's not fully over, but you know what I mean? Basically, you know, having the second seed is a great accomplishment. So y'all heard me give the praises. Now I'm going to go back to me after this video. So, you know what I mean? You only earn it when you earn it. You already know. Anyways, it's True Talks, because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. This was the one time where I didn't give that many, negatives or whatever the case is. I just showed you and appreciated the Raptors because I do appreciate them in that. But it's hard for me to show my appreciation on actual camera when everyone is just boosting. That's why I have to come and knock people back down to earth. That's always what I have to do. And so don't blame me, blame everybody else. When people don't do, I never say nothing. I always talk with actual where they're supposed to be, but only I say things when people over boost all the time. And that's all I see within media and how the NBA community is moving. That's when I have to be like, nah, that's what y'all are saying? Hell no. Say it in the video. That's what happens. So anyways, like I said, share, like, and subscribe. It's True Talks, because True Talks, we out here. There's no doubt here. There's no jaw here. You feel me? Congrats to the Raps. They did good, man. They did good for this season. Now let's see what elite looks like. Let's see what elite looks like. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. You feel me? And I'm out, man.